All right, so it's raining in California. Not that big of a deal. I mean, it is a big deal. If you live there, obviously you've got a problem. That sucks. Um, I don't know. When you buy a house, mortgage people, the typical purchasing thing will be a process where they analyze whether your property is in a what they call a 100-year floodplain, and if it is, and you want to get a mortgage loan, they're going to make you buy flood insurance, which is actually pretty cheap considering. It's government subsidized. It's not really that bad. I think they abuse it on the coast. A lot of rich people get to have these nice houses on the coast and then have them completely demolished by storms and then go like, oh. But then they play the game of was it the wind, was it the rain, right? But yeah, sometimes they build houses in the most stupid places. But I'm not criticizing this farm or anything that's in this picture. The point is the doom porn. Like, all right, we know how the left does all this, right? Like they want to claim that this is like, yeah, see, like, oh, look how, I mean, that sucks, right? You got to be careful too. You don't drive into a flood. Like they always tell you, and they're right. You don't, unless you really know what this little stretch of road is like, you don't drive into it because you might be underwater before you know it, you know. Uh, but if I knew this stretch of road, that might be different. Yeah, obviously this looks like a vineyard, I think. It's getting flooded. And this sucks, but this is not it's not normal, but it's not abnormal. It happens like every few years, 5, 10, you know, California gets freaking flooded. And that's why there's trees there in the first place, because then you have these years where it just seems to never rain. It's like a desert. That's its history. It's always been that way. I don't think it'll ever change, personally. Uh, well, yeah, if you know about the history of like when they dug the LA, I think I told this one already online, but when they dug the subway in Los Angeles, when they why would you have a subway in earthquake country is the stupidest thing in my opinion. It's like what? Put the trains above ground, please. Yeah, and they found ferns and like cactuses in the dirt. So maybe there is climate. Yeah, did I already trigger the algorithms? You know what I mean, though. But yeah. But here's the funny part, right? Everybody knows the left likes this stuff, right? They love to just jerk off to this freaking doom porn of climate. Like, oh my God, a flood. But then, like, my dad calls me, and he's watching shit like this. Same thing. Same thing. You know, same. At least they threw a bunch of politics. Oh God. Of course they would. Uh, yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah, right, but I don't know. This I can't watch normal media. But yeah, my dad calls me, and he's getting old, so I always want to take his calls. You just never know if it's be the last one. And so, he's freaking old, dude. But he calls, and he's like, "The power went out, and blah blah blah." And he's not by himself. He's got people around him helping him. So I don't have to worry about that. But he's like bitching about like the weather, and he's like, almost like pray for me kind of phone call, like pity bullshit. The pity that I hate. I hate when people call me with their health problems I can't fix. Like, if I have practical advice, I'll give it to you. But it's like, why would you want me to just take pity on you? That actually makes things worse, I think, on a metaphysical level. You want your self image to be a strong person. Yeah, I was thinking about that last night because of something I saw. You probably know who you are if you heard this. But yeah, all right, it's a big. They're getting hit with some heavy rain, which is a big deal. The rain saturated, but they were whining about droughts just a little while ago, just a year and a half ago. Maybe even less than that. Oh my God, 125,000 Californians don't have power. That's like a typical day in California, dude. There's what 40, 50 million people in that state. 125, and yeah, my dad's like, we lost power. I'm like, yeah. Uh-huh. You're used to that, right? Like you're ready for that, aren't you? Like you guys have your shit together. Like you know what's up. Um, I'm not as prepared as they are. And he's like, it's raining, it's flooding. And I'm like, you live at 2,000 feet. So this conversation lasted about 60 to 70 seconds, and he hung up on me because what he wanted was a pity party about how he's going through a big storm and he's in danger. I'm like, no, you're not. You're fine. I mean, some people are in danger. Don't get me wrong. This is a serious storm. You have to know what's going on. Um, so I'm not downplaying the danger to people who live in areas that are like floodplains or like are vulnerable to certain things or have trees that might come down. Like people like me just cut them down before that happens. Like that's what I did. Like first thing I did when I moved into this place, I'm like, that tree's got to go. I love trees, by the way. I cry when I cut down a tree. Like I literally do. So, but I was like, that can't be there. It's a danger. Like one time I saw the most perfect house. I was gonna rent it. It was in California, and like it had everything. Little art studio for the missus, like just everything. But I'm like, look at that tree. It's gonna fall on the house in a torrential rainstorm. And I'm not, I can't cut down their tree, so it's their house. So I'm not. I just said no. But the rent was cheap. Everything was perfect. But that one little, so yeah, trees are a big deal. I love trees though. I plant them. I've planted 3 trees for every one I've cut down. But yeah, and I will forever. I love trees. But yeah, this shit like that happens when this stuff happens. It's normal. It happens around here all the time. I mean, I've got branches. I got branches right now. I've got to fucking go clean up. It's like, yeah, I've got branches sitting on top of shit that's like needs to be. It's neglect. I've neglected my yard making tracks for YouTubers and trying to collaborate on starting businesses, selling T-shirts or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's yeah, that's in Sacramento apparently. Uh, this is very typical. See, this is not doom. This is just the beach. That happens. You have to be careful at the coast, especially up here. The Pacific. It's funny they call it the Pacific Ocean because it's not very passive. It's like the Atlantic Ocean seems nice, but the Pacific is like, bam, waves all the time, dude. It's beautiful, but it's like it's scary. It's very dangerous. I like the ocean there or anywhere on the West Coast. I love it, but I know that it's very dangerous. Very. Yeah, you don't want to fuck around with this shit, dude. If you. But yeah, um, I've been there. Yeah, I think I've been right there. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Um, you know, but they're probably in a 100-year floodplain and have the insurance, or at least are informed. If they're not, they're stupid. That's an area that obviously is subject to flooding. Yeah, and just so my point of this whole video is that like the doom porn exists on both sides, and it isn't just the left that's hyping this freaking weather bullshit. It's like it's important to be informed about what's the current weather conditions are. Don't get me wrong, but the sensationalization of it and the losing your practical sense of what to do about it. Look at that fucking tree, dude. What the fuck? Oh wow. Yeah, I wouldn't cut it. I don't know. But wow. I mean, it's a tough one. But you know what I mean? It's just like, guys, this stuff happens. You just be ready for it and you don't need to make a big deal out of it. I don't know. That's it.